Hello Assassins, and welcome back to the third episode of Assassin's Creed Revelations, how I would design the compass. So that's what today's topic is. Got a few ideas here, just going to bounce them against you, see what you think. Let me know in the comments. I got some really good feedback on smoke bombs and the stunning mechanic. But this should be quite a nice little change. I quite like this one. This was inspired by Guy on the Ubisoft forums. He mentioned it and it suddenly brought it to my attention. And his suggestion really got some ideas sparking in my head. So just want to thank him for that. Give him a little shout out for that. He mentions here that that Wanted is basically a non-stop heat-seeking missile match, whatever. The moment that starts, everyone just runs towards them. I agree, but there still has to be an element of that in effect, because it's kind of like that's how cat and mouse games work generally. It's kind of the fun of it, you know. It's the risk of running towards your target and being chased by someone running towards you at the same time. Kind of interesting. I like that game mechanic. But his suggestion is that hidden blend groups activate the compass whilst being out of them will completely disable it. Now, I can only imagine how confusing this will be for first players, but I'm sure there'll be a tutorial for this. Right, so this brings back social stealth. So I'm going to talk about what I've come up with from this suggestion. It's quite an interesting suggestion, and it's brought some ideas into my head. These are just suggestions, and I want to, I was hoping some feedback. So let me know. Skype, someone's messaging me. Never mind, I'm leaving it there. Whatever. So how it currently works is, no matter what you're doing, where you are, it's always going to be active, and the line of sight will always be active. I mention line of sight because I am kind of thinking of changing the line of sight, but I'm not sure. That would be nice to get some feedback on. So these are my suggestions, my ideas, how I would design it if I was making Assassin's Creed Revelations. These are all ideas for Assassin's Creed 3, hopefully. Running or sprinting makes the compass extremely inaccurate, and I mean like literally when you get within half a map of the player, it goes bing and says, right, you're near your target. That's how inaccurate it is when you're running. And when you're running and you stop running, it takes 3 seconds to kick in to the walking compass, which is accurate but not as accurate as the ACR compass. So it takes 3 seconds after you stop running to kick in to this more accurate compass. This stops people from literally just running, stopping, seeing where their target is, then running again. It's, it just removes that. So, I'll talk about what this does in the next slide. Being on the rooftops completely destroys the compass. Like, you cannot find your target. You'll still have the character portrait in the top right hand corner, which tells you if you're close and if they're in line of sight. No, actually, no line of sight. No, but you will still be able to know if you're running around the rooftops, because you'll start going down, so you'll know they're in line of sight. So, hidden groups increase the accuracy of your compass significantly, and hopefully will, if I decide to put in the line of sight mechanics, I forgot to mention this. So, the line of sight, whilst you're running or sprinting, there's no line of sight, but you'll be able to know because you're running and you'll see your discrete going down, but it won't be so obvious. You won't have like a massive lit up, portrait or anything. You'll have no line of sight detection whilst you're running. Walking. Now this is going to be like a midway thing. Walking is still kind of obvious. You can still be spotted quite easily if you're walking around, and your line of sight detection is going to be flickering. Like really randomly, it's going to be flickering, which will mean that screening is not such a possible technique, and you'll have to compromise and use an offensive skill and a defensive skill, which is what people should be using in Assassin's Creed, in all gamers, to be honest. You should be using one offensive and one defensive. Except for deathmatch, in which case you probably want to use both defensive. But you should be using one offensive and one defensive, or 2 offensive/defensive skills, because it shouldn't be that easy to pick out a target. You should have to rely on your abilities sometimes to pick out the targets, and sometimes defend yourself. People don't use the offensive abilities anymore because you can easily pick out a target with the current accuracy of the compass. Anyway, hidden groups will bring back your line of sight detection completely, so you can still kind of screen if you're in a blend group and they happen to come into a perfect angle behind a wall or something. Maybe you can screen, but hidden groups increase the accuracy of the compass as well significantly and make it a lot more accurate, even more accurate than the ACR currently is. Compass. And this will encourage people to sit in blend groups, especially because there's something else after this point. On rooftops, your pursuer's compass becomes pinpoint accurate. So if I have my target on the roof, I will see exactly where he is because I'll have a meter's distance in the center of my compass and up, and obviously the normal radar, which tells me exactly where they are. So this is what I was talking about. Whilst blended, you become slightly harder to track as well. Your pursuer's compass becomes suddenly less accurate. And this is nice because they can't tell if you just blended or if you've run away from them slightly. They're not sure, and if they're not in a blend group, they can't tell because as soon as they go around the corner, they have a flashy, line of sight detection. They're not going to have a clue where you are. So how this would change the gameplay of mainly Wanted, I'm hoping to aim for in this. Players would not head to the rooftops unless they have locked their target. Once they know exactly who they are, they can climb up, run around the corner, climb up onto the rooftop and stalk them from the top of the rooftops, which is how they should be doing it. That's how players should stalk people on the rooftops. That's how the rooftops should be used. They should be used as a way to get to people that you know are going to see you coming, or just to get your aerial kill bonus or your acrobatic bonus. That's how I use it. Players will generally avoid the rooftops, as not only does it completely blur their compass, it makes it extremely easy to identify exactly where they are. If you can't see where your target is and you're giving away your position completely to your pursuer, you're not going to want to go on the rooftops, and people will quickly learn that. There is one exception where people are playing defensively and they camp on the top of a roof with smoke, bomb and mute, and they wait for you to come at them, and then they just stun you. Don't get why people do that, actually they wouldn't even do that with the stunning mechanic changes, because I've lowered the score to 50 points / 100 points, which would completely destroy boosting for one, but also people camping on rooftops defensively. People would run. Once their compass fills up and says being close, they would have to start walking. They start walking and their compass becomes more accurate. Now they can see where their target is more accurately. Still not very accurately. Their line of sight, right, this is a scenario, okay? So suddenly your line of sight, you go around the corner, your line of sight indicator starts flashing, like flashing, and you're like, okay, my target's near here, but I can't tell where he is. So you go around the corner, you get in a blend group, and then you notice that they're in line of sight, and then you can sit there and just look around and start thinking, where are they? Then suddenly you see someone, a character, run up and stun someone. That's your target. Bang, you lock them. This is the kind of gameplay that should be happening. It should be about the tension of waiting for someone to strike. It should be about, identifying them properly, or another situation where you use an ability to identify who they are. You can do Templar vision. Templar vision will be more used. Things like that. It's going to increase the gameplay a lot, and people who are running around like idiots will learn very quick that they're going very wrong here. When they get no line of sight, their bonus goes right down to nothing and they kill the wrong target. They'll learn, and that's what the punishment is. I see why Ubisoft have done it. I don't blame them. I know exactly why they've done it, but they've made the game way too easy. This might be good for advanced players like Advanced, Wanted, and stuff like that. So thanks again for watching. I'm looking for feedback here, big time. It's like I'm playing tennis against a wall. I'm looking for a recoil here. So give me some feedback. Let me know what you think of all these ideas. If you like the ideas as a whole, I'll just upload this video with a different commentary to the second playlist, which is the revisited video, where I'm gonna change some things. Unless, well, if you think that there should be some changes made, if you think I'm not correct on some of these points, do feel free to say so. I'm not ashamed if you say that my ideas are awful. That's fine. It's called constructive feedback. Fine. So, as a little side note, this would hopefully sort out Wanted with the stunning changes, especially because Wanted at the moment kind of promotes a very bad gameplay style, because what you do is you basically get into the lead, and as soon as you get in the lead, go to a nice point, camp with two defensive abilities, and that's the game. That's how you do it, because you're getting 200 points for every stun, and it's there's a good chance that your target has one of your pursuers as their target, because you've got 3 pursuers. So I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more. Subscribe if you'd like to keep up to date with the suggestions that are happening. See you next time.